Healthcare providers around the country are now administering COVID-19 shots to infants, toddlers, and preschoolers. Children 6 months to 5 years old are the latest group to be eligible for the vaccine. Doctors say vaccinating children is not only about protection, but also preventing potential long-term consequences. But many parents are still reluctant. According to a CDC survey released over the weekend, around a third of parents say they want to get their child in the age group vaccinated. Over 17% say they don't want the shots for their kids. Dr. Jay Varma joins me now for more. He is the director of the Cornell Center for Pandemic Prevention and Response. Dr. Varma, really thankful you're here to talk to us about this, because we've seen a similar hesitancy, it seems, among eligible kids between the ages of 5 and 11. If you look at the numbers, it looks like fewer than 30% are fully vaccinated. Can you remind us, why are COVID vaccines recommended for these young children?
Yeah, thank you very much for having me. And let's be very clear here. You know, COVID is a bad infection to get, regardless of whether you're young or old. What we've seen, if you look at all the data over the past 2 years, is that COVID has become one of the leading causes of death, even in children under the age of 5. Now, the total number of deaths is low, but let's remember, kids aren't supposed to die.
Right.
So this vaccine is important because it prevents severe illness and death, but it also can protect you against infections. It's not perfect, but it does reduce your risk against infections and recurrent infections.
Well, it seems that there are two different groups of parents when I go online. It seems like the ones that I saw even today, a friend of mine in Florida was able to get her very young child vaccinated. She didn't realize she was going to a doctor's appointment that was previously scheduled. They said, hey, would you like to vaccinate your child? She posted a picture. She was crying. Her family's, stopped traveling and doing things because they were really waiting for their youngest children to get vaccinated. Well, on the other side, you have a lot of parents with this hesitancy that they really don't want to do it. What would you say to those parents who say, I just want to wait, I don't want to vaccinate my young kids?
Yeah, and I fully understand parents who are wondering. Now, they've been in this pandemic for 2 years. They're, hopeful that it's going to end, and they say, well, why should my child get this right now? I would say the first most important thing to do is, if you look at pediatricians, people like my wife who take care of kids every day, you know what they do? They get their kids vaccinated. So if there's anybody that you can trust, is, doctors wouldn't do anything to harm their own kids. So the first thing I would say is, we understand why you might have some concerns, but the people who look at this information closest are making the decision to vaccinate. And that is the reason why, I and many others feel so strongly about it. And the second thing I would say is, these vaccines have been tested in hundreds of thousands and now even millions of kids globally. Now, of course, they're in older children, but the vaccine has proven safe and effective. And so we expect the same outcome in younger children as well.
I was one of those kids, I hated getting a shot, and as an adult, I still have to have the nurse do the 3, 2, 1, you're getting it right now. I think a lot of parents, hear about vaccines, and then they start thinking, oh, well, will they need 2? Will young children need boosters, do you think?
Everything we're learning about this virus is that there's nothing that we can predict.
Okay.
And one of the things that we've learned over time is that this isn't, for at least for adults and for other children, this is not a 2-dose vaccine. It really is a 3-dose vaccine. So we don't have that data, obviously, for younger kids yet. But I do think that parents may have to expect that, similar to many other childhood vaccines, there may be a need to get additional dosage in the future. And that's really just to protect you. And I think there's also this belief among a lot of parents, which I totally get, that their kids are somehow more vulnerable to side effects from vaccines. It turns out that the childhood immune system responds really well. It was designed to be protected against future infections. And that's why vaccines, not viruses, are so safe to give to children.
Very good information on all of this. Before I let you go, though, I do want to talk about monkeypox. The CDC has reported over 170 cases now in the United States. You actually wrote an opinion piece in the Washington Post earlier this week. What actions do we need to take to stop this virus now from spreading?
Yeah, one of the biggest problems we have with this virus, and this will be very reminiscent to your viewers as well, is that we're just simply not testing enough. The reality is the number of confirmed cases of this infection is probably a substantial underestimate. And the only way to get ahead of this virus, which is through a lot of the things we know, testing, isolation, and vaccination, because we have an effective vaccine, is to test more. And I was disappointed that the federal government has not moved as quickly as it could to make testing available at all labs. There was an announcement earlier today that that is now going to happen. And so I'm optimistic that if we can get more testing out there, we'll know more about this epidemic and have a better opportunity to control it.
Sounds like deja vu. Dr. Jay Varma, thank you so much. We appreciate you joining us.
Okay, thank you very much.